Doug MPA back with another one. So, guys, this article I found is called Women's Share of Executive Jobs Falls for First Time in Years. Study finds, and you're going to see it's full of all sorts of lies. Oh, yeah, the reason why women aren't in the C-suite as much anymore is because, the diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are being thrown by the wayside, and misogyny, and all this stuff. We all know that's cap, guys. I did an article earlier last year about how for every one man in the C-suite is CEO, COO, CFO. For every man in the C-suite that quits, every one, 2 women quit. And why is that, guys? It's because women fight like hell to get to the top, and when they get to the top, they're like, wait a minute, you mean to tell me I'm gonna have to work 100 hours a week for the rest of my life? Nope. So they quit to get a job with more flexibility, a job that's more in line with their values, whatever that means. And guys, success is mandatory for men and optional for women. So we're gonna get into this article. Before I do that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. It shows you support me and what I'm doing over here. And let's get into this. It says women's share of coveted executive job roles dropped in 2023 for the first time in nearly 2 decades, according to a recently published report from researchers who see it as possibly an alarming turning point in the path towards gender parity in corporate America. Female executives lost roughly 60 C-suite roles last year, a reversal after several years of slow but persistent growth, according to S&P blah blah. Women now claim 11.8% of 15,000 chief executives, financial officers, and other top roles at publicly traded companies, down from 12.2% the previous year. It's the first decline in that percentage since S&P started tracking this data in 2006. And what happened in the last in 2020, guys, that we're still kind of feeling the effects of now? The cough. Okay, a lot of women during the cough really looked around at their lives and said, what is the next 10, 15, 20 years of my life going to look like? Why am I single? Why is it just me in this condo and my dog? I don't want this, so I have to make a change. And a lot of ladies, if you work too much, guys are not going to find that attractive. You have to be ready to be found by a good guy who wants to marry you. And the worst thing you can do is work 80 to 100 hours a week. Well, that and be fat. So the growth in women's representation among senior corporate positions, once a bright spot for gender parity, potentially faces an alarming turning point. The report's author wrote, the change of trend is surprising after a major surge in C-suite representation in 2022, they noted. Growth no longer appears exponential. The stalling of women's progress in the upper echelons of corporate America is troubling. We're moving backwards. Researchers behind the report didn't name a clear reason for the drop off in women's representation in high level executive roles, but other data suggests that the pipeline is narrow, and they're not going to name the reasons because us people in this space, we all know the reasons why. They're just not going to say it. If there were reasons that painted women in a good light, they would say it, but they're not going to. So S&P Global Research published last month found that women hold fewer than 30% of revenue-generating management positions that can be a stepping stone to the C-suite. Because most women in corporate America are in positions that don't contribute to the bottom line profit of the company. That's why. And that's why tossing aside DEI is so troubling for women. Because that's an industry that's dominated by women. Know that the growth rate of women in senior leadership roles more broadly notched its lowest increase in more than 10 years in 2023, rising only 0.5%. Women may be hired in entry level roles but not receive the same opportunities for development and promotions as men, says this woman at Middle Georgia State University. Phipps, who's also a scholar with the Academy of Management, said organizations often fail to nurture a supportive culture that allows women to effectively balance work with their duties outside of it. But that's the thing about it. If you have a man in the role, a man is just going to show up to work and get that money and get paid and get that promotion. A job doesn't have to worry about a woman wanting to bring workplace flexibility, DEI, focus on employee morale, all that stuff. Men, we don't care about that. We want status, money, respect, and the ability to be able to provide for ourselves and our family. That's what men want. Women do hold C-suite positions. They tend to be identified as support functions such as chief human resource officer or chief diversity officer. Guys, we saw these coming. It's true though. Among core executive roles, she said women are more likely to hold the title of chief marketing officer rather than jobs as chief operating officer or chief financial officer. It's because the difference in values. Women want to wield the power that a human resource officer has or a chief diversity officer has. And they want to change all the culture around and have people put pronouns in their emails instead of focusing on making more money. That's why. There are individuals with power who view certain roles as more suitable for men and other roles as more suitable for women. This gender stereotyping that perpetuates the unfortunate glass ceiling must cease. As once again, they're not going to tell you the real reasons why. They're just going to keep going around and around and around it. The decline in the number of top female executives coincide with backlash to diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in corporate America and beyond. After an explosion of support for DEI in 2020, the past year has seen a reversal as companies such as Starbucks, Nike, and United Airlines face legal challenges to their policies, as they should. Because white men, and I would say black men, well, I'd say men, period. Straight men are not included in DEI policies. They're just not. And we're tired of it. No more DEI. DEI is the ultimate culmination of the participation trophy in public school and the human resources department is DEI. Some companies have ditched chief diversity officers or a role commonly held by women of color. Yeah, I bet. And what color do you think that is mainly, guys? Exactly. And others have axed internal teams dedicated to DEI and outsourced the work to consultants. Mentions of DEI on corporate earnings calls in 2023 tumbled to their lowest level since 2012. Now that's progress, guys. That's what I'm talking about. S&P now projects that gender parity at the C-suite level of U.S. companies won't happen until somewhere between 2055 and 2072. That's 5 to 7 years later than researchers have projected before the slowdown. Guys, I don't think gender parity is ever going to happen. I honestly think that we're going to have a return to conservatism, after all these years of extreme liberalism. I guess this me being optimistic, I guess. As of 2005, women held 6.5% of C-suite positions. When women do make it to the very top, they don't stay as long as their male counterparts. As of 2023, a little over 10% of Fortune 500 companies have female CEOs, but their tenures are often significantly shorter than their male counterparts, with women staying for 4.5 years on average compared with 7.2 years for men, according to Fortune. Once again, these women, they spend 4 years as a CEO. They're like, man, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. I want to focus on my personal life and my family and other pursuits, and they duck out. Guys, let me know what you think about this in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you on the next one.